Hi, we're back. Thanks for staying with us. Joined now in studio by Matt Chipman. Matt, of course, is the editor-in-chief of the Green Baron Report. Matt, always good to see you.
Glad to be here again, Don.
You know, Matt, I think the last time you were on the program, we didn't have this oil spill yet. This is affecting everything.
Yeah, well, that was, I think the last time I came on, we were talking about the big computerized drop in the market,
right.
Which really spooked out a lot of investors. A lot of the trading volumes, not only for other reasons, but for that also have dropped like 35% across the board. So, yeah, the oil thing has everybody spooked, of course, and it's a terrible catastrophe, you know.
Well, of course, the ecological impact is, you know, we could do 5 shows on, you know, what's going to happen and how long it's going to take to clean up, but the economic impact is devastating when you consider that whole lives are dependent upon the life around the Gulf, whether it's the fishing industry or the recreational boating industry or the tourism industry. All of those industries are going to be dramatically affected for years to come.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. You know, and the thing to do if you are an investor looking for value plays in small cap stocks is to find and think about the kind of companies that will benefit from that, and the ones that will be drastically hurt by it.
That's correct.
The good news is you know, British Petroleum is one of the largest companies on earth, and financially, I believe they'll be able to make this thing whole. As bad as it looks, you know, sometimes when you go into wartime, which is this is essentially what it is, you know, people benefit from wartime. You know, the defense companies, the government jobs. You know, here you're going to have a lot of government jobs that are going to come out of it. Of course, the fishing industry and shrimp, and we don't know the effects of it yet, but it's going to be, you know, bad for a lot of people.
Well, you know, the government notwithstanding, because of course they're not exactly in the best cash position right now themselves, but I mean, with respect to BP, because there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not BP might even consider, you know, filing Chapter 11 or the various moves that they can make. They've had a couple of public relations hiccups. I mean, the CEO going on a yacht over the weekend and that type of thing. But we're talking about an environmental and engineering undertaking that is really unprecedented. And as the oil continues to spill into the Gulf and the economic impact becomes more and more severe, is there a concern that this, even though, as you said, is one of the largest companies in the world, could eventually swallow the company and force them into a bankruptcy?
You know, I guess anything is possible. I don't see that happening because of their size. They've set aside $20 billion for this purpose. If they cannot stop the flow before, what is it, August, that it's projected that they'll be able to drill the relief well, that's a worst case scenario. Certainly it would be nice to see them be able to siphon off more than they're doing now.
Well, I think we've all pretty much come to the conclusion that it's going to be August.
Yeah.
And so we've got another 30-45 days of this oil spewing into the Gulf, but we haven't even seen the lawsuits yet.
Yeah, this is going to be, you're talking about 5-10 years, and it's really sad to see it happen, especially after that area of our country that was so devastated by Katrina, to have another disaster happen right off its coastline, and it is sad. Whether British Petroleum has that many you know, to the point of banks, I don't think that's going to happen, but it's I guess you know, anything's possible.
Now, all during this disaster for the last 60 days, for the most part, the markets have been pretty much trading sideways. We have big up days, we have big down days, we have a lot of neutral days, a lot of doldrum days, so to speak. So, as you said, people are looking for opportunities for companies that will benefit, for contracts to clean up and that type of thing. They're also looking at the companies that are going to be hurt economically. But do you think the markets are just kind of weathering this disaster rather well?
Yeah, I think you know, you look for opportunities. I think the market is trying to stabilize. The biggest problem, for instance, that we had today was the housing numbers. We have bigger fish to fry, and the housing numbers aren't getting any better. We need housing, we need sales, we need stability in that market to stabilize the economy, and we may not quite be there. I've heard a lot of things about a double dip housing problem, and and that I think is coming later in the year. How that affects the stock market, because the stock market's made up of a lot of corporations that are doing great in this market. They have gotten lean, so you need to look for the right companies that are stable, that aren't looking for a lot of cash, and have tremendous business plans to support this time frame.
Now, I think realistically, can anybody really be surprised by the the May numbers in housing? Because when the government subsidies ended, you knew that housing was going to take a dip.
Yeah, we figured that was going to happen. It'll be interesting to see what happens later in the summer because the summer buyers are finally coming out. We just had their first day of summer here, so it's just starting up.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be looking over the summer, and hopefully those will bounce.
Well, of course, the stock market and companies that you and I like to watch, everything is reacting to geopolitical events, economic events. With all of this that's been going on, what kind of things are you looking at right now?
Well, we look at different companies. We're not focused just like the Green Baron, like on green energy companies, although we do cover a lot in that area. I mean, the oil disaster is going to point even more toward green energy type companies and companies that are creating fuel and those kind of opportunities. We've covered, like for example, our 4 last stock picks have averaged a move of nearly 48% from the time that we profile them. We are finding opportunities out there. I think we've got a diverse, we're very carefully, these are carefully researched opportunities. We don't suggest that our members go buy them and then walk away a week later. Our stock picks, we stay with them. We report on them for months. And we want to walk people through reasons why they make sense. And we come back to them over and over again with reasons why they make sense. So that's why I think our members stay with us.
Okay. We've been talking to you on the program now for probably a good 3 or 4 years, and it's been really interesting to watch how the market has ebbed and flowed during that period of time. Do you think things are going to continue to move forward as we get into 2010? Because it's been a decent year.
I care less about and trying to predict where exactly the stock market's going to go, because it wouldn't surprise me if we were 1,000 points lower by the end of the year or 1,000 points higher. It just wouldn't surprise me. I've really, instead of trying to focus on where the market's going to be and making those calls, it is a market of stocks, and I recommend that everybody do their due diligence. Get to know the companies. I mean, most of the CEOs with small companies will talk to you.
Right.
Believe it or not, they'll pick up the phone, and especially if you have good questions asked.
Sure.
Do it. Do your research, and I think you'll find out which companies really make sense and which ones don't. And it's we try to do all that research ahead of time for our people, but I've been suggesting it more often to our members. Send us an email. Tell us what your questions are. If you want to hear something, you want something answered, we'll find out for you.
Okay, very quickly, just about out of time, the Green Baron Report, how can you get more information?
Just go to our website, click any join button at thegreenbaron.com, and just start following what we're saying, and then come in slowly. But and then we'll if down the road you won't want to receive it anymore, you can unsubscribe. But go to our site and just click any join.
Okay. He doesn't have a crystal ball, but he is the Green Baron. Matt Chipman, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me on the show.